This is the Mad Dragons Podcast. Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mad Dragons Podcast. We have a small panel tonight. Muzzer's playing poker. Rob's on holidays. Dazza is washing his hair. Chloe's sick, and Puff, I think he's watching a Betamax recording of the 1979 Grand Final, all because they couldn't handle coming on tonight to hear me say, "I told you so," about the great Billy Burns. But Jesse, in all seriousness, I told you so.
You did. Yeah.
All right, now What? Go, Jesse.
He even gave you a shout out message.
He did, yes. Big T, I'm not sure exactly how everyone else feels about the performance against the Raiders, but do you think it's a bit of a sad reflection on how far this club has fallen that we lost to the Raiders at home and conceded 36 points, and yet I went to bed reasonably happy with the performance and proud of the effort put in by most of the players on the team. Do you think that's a bit of a sad reflection on how far we've fallen?
And losing to the Raiders by the biggest win this year, 10 points. They've only been winning by 8s and 4s and 2s. But to be beaten by Canberra at home, Canberra are probably a mid-table team anyway. That's where I think we should be, around mid-table team, but I don't know. We think, oh, we're going well, we're winning, we're leading. Oh, we lost that game, but we played well. You get to the point where you don't want to do that anymore.
It's still not good enough.
I don't think it's good enough, but
no.
I went to bed thinking that was a better effort.
Yes, at least from the last 2 weeks, the guys always had to come out and show that we still had something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but
you look at the Bulldogs last night, and then the Tigers put up a little bit of a fight the other night for a little while.
But the tries,
there's still fight there.
The tries that Canberra scored, some of them were fairly easy. Yeah, they were fairly soft.
Yeah. Well, I suppose there were still some of the same issues that we have seen in recent weeks, but I do think that there was certainly an improved effort in seeing the team coming back from behind and not giving up despite a fair bit of adversity in this game has left at least some fans feeling slightly more positive than the last couple of games where we've been absolutely lapped.
Well, if we see it again next week, we know they're trying, but week after next.
No. Next week we've got to try really. We've got to beat the bye, mate. Yeah.
They haven't lost a game all year, the bye, so that won't be an easy team to beat.
Anyhow.
All right. Well, I have no idea what this bloke's going to say in his segment, so let's go and find out.
Welcome to Heroes and Villains Raiders edition. Well, another loss for the Dragons, but much improved performance, attacking wise at least, with 9 players running over 100 metres, including standing captain Blake Laurie, Frank Mollo, Michaeli Ravalawa, and even Donny's boy Billy Burns. The standout, however, has to be Zach Lomax, running for a whopping 254 metres, with 10 tackle breaks and an admirable performance at fullback after the loss of Paul Turner in the 54th minute, which will no doubt have some Dragons fans calling for him to play fullback in Tyrell Sloan's absence and possibly beyond. Such a performance cannot be overlooked, and for that reason, Zach Lomax gets the hero for the week. Now, where there's a hero, there must also be a villain, and as usual, multiple individuals threw their hats in the ring for various reasons. Referee Peter Goff touch judge Casey Badger, and video referee Jared Sutton all had ordinary performances, as they quite often do, and a few players also put in subpar efforts. The chosen one for this week, however, is a forward, a back rower, in fact, recruited from another club who just hasn't measured up. Donnie, I think you know where I'm going with this. I am, of course, talking about Ben Murdoch-Masila. 10 runs for 78 metres, 3 missed tackles, 1 pass, a non-existent defence, and not much else is unacceptable from a man who has had little to no impact during his time in the Red V. Sorry, Big Ben, but you're on report. 10 in the bin. Back to you, Donnie, in the central commentary position after what could very well be the last Heroes and Villains I ever do.
Yeah, mate. Well, I thought I was about to boot you. I had the boot button ready, and then you said a different name than what I was expecting. So I'll keep you around for another week, mate, maybe. We'll talk about your performance review very, very shortly after the end of financial year. But now, Ben Murdoch-Masila, mate, I don't know how often we've talked about it. Big T's sick of me giving him questions, but so's everybody else. So I think everybody's had their turn of answering why the hell we keep picking Ben Murdoch-Masila. Once again, I actually thought it was a better effort. There was, I think, 10 runs in this game where there was only 5 the week before. So certainly more effort from him. But defensively, some of those attempted tackles, just shirt-grabbing, piss-weak attempts, like it was horrible and very, very costly for us. So I think a thoroughly deserving villain this week, mate. All right, into the Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year, a little bit more positivity. And I'm not sure what the commentary was like on 9, but on KO, they were tonguing Matt Timiko's arsehole the entire first half, saying he might run more metres than any other player this season. But I don't recall Zach Lomax getting quite the same level of praise, despite the fact he finished with more metres than Timoko. 254 metres, in fact, 2 line break assists, a try assist, 2 tries, 10 tackle breaks. It was an inspired performance. There are many theories as to exactly what inspired this standout Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year, Man of the Match showing from Lomax. But Hasman, I'll ask you, what do you think it was that inspired such a good showing from Zach?
I think it was a conversation that he's had with Shane Flanagan, basically saying, I want you at the club. I'm going to sort of really keep an eye on you. We're going to do great things together, and just basically building up the sort of confidence that that Lomax needs, because he's an absolute confidence player. When he's got confidence, he can do some majestic things. When he's down on confidence, he goes completely the other way. So he did have a conversation with Shane Flanagan, and I think that's given him a bit of a pep up, and hopefully he can keep that going.
Yeah, no, that was certainly one theory, is that the chat with Flano, and he was quite happy with that. The other theory that I heard was that Blake Laurie, his best mate, named as captain, and that was enough to inspire him to really want to rip in. Do you think there's any truth to that one, Hasman?
Oh, it could very well be. Maybe he just wanted to put in a good effort, because he was playing with the great Billy Burns.
Well, there's any number of things that could have inspired the performance, and that'd inspire the most insipid of human beings, I'd imagine. But we might leave that one there. Zach scored 2 of our tries, but second in the voting this week was the bloke that scored the other 3. Jesse, you had Ravaloa for 2 votes. Why did you think Ravo was one of our best?
I thought, you mentioned it, he scored 3 tries. He always got himself in the positions to be on the end of Lomax's pass, and I thought he was always in good position, and he proved a handful for young Hopewadi out there on that right wing, so on the left wing for Canberra, and also Jared Croker. So yeah, that Lomax Ravalawa combination really showed why they can be lethal when they are on. I thought Ravalawa really reaped the rewards, and yeah, another hat trick for Rava, and it was great to see him get a hat trick in front of the home fans in Wollongong.
Yeah, he's always incredibly hard to stop close to the line, that's for sure. I'll stay with you, Jesse, because you were the only person on the panel that didn't have Zach Lomax as the man of the match, and the player you thought was the Dragons' best was actually the third best overall according to the panel in Junior Amone. Why was Junior the best on ground in your opinion?
Well, yeah, I was at that game, and I thought every time he had his hands on the ball, looked like I thought something was going to happen. He looked he was a great runner of the ball. He was getting those good passes out to Lomax and Ravalawa. He was really combining well and really linking up with these players well. I think that's the best game he's played this year. I'm really capturing that form that he discovered at the back end of last year. And with the injury to Bud in that game, I think he's got to put his hand up again and really put that rubber stamp on that number 6 for the rest of the year now. But yeah, arguably that's his best game of the year, without a doubt.
I think it's certainly his best game of the year. I think there's a few people wondering if that's his best game in the Red V. Full stop. I know he had some other good games at the back end of last year, and I think there was one against the Raiders where he got a hat trick as well. So he just loves coming up against Canberra. It seems to bring out the best in him for whatever reason. But yeah, it was a really strong showing from Junior, and right up there in the voting. Big T, there was actually a tie for third in the voting, but you had 2 votes for Billy Burns, and I've just got to ask, mate. Tell me how you and I can remain so humble when we clearly know so much more about rugby league than the rest of the panel.
I know. I understand what we're going through, because I do like Billy 80-minute Burns. He played 80 during the game last week. 12 runs, 124 metres, 41 post-contact metres, 5 tackle breaks, 1 line break, 42 tackles, which was pretty impressive from Billy Burns, and he only missed 2. So his defence has been quite lacking before, but 42 tackles, missing 2, that's great. Twice he made 2 superb passes for Rava tries. Like that one where he caught it, quickly passed it, that was perfect timing. And then he could have scored himself, but he passed it to Rava to get number 3. 1 try assist. He could have scored that one himself. Not quite the Reggie stats. He's getting down in the reserves, but he's getting there. A couple more games, he'll come good. I like Billy.
Yeah, mate. I thought it was a really strong showing.
It was his best game.
Oh, did you go across to the errors column? Because apparently he makes 1,000 errors every game.
Well,
how many was it?
To Gus, it was 0 errors.
Yeah, 0. That's what I thought.
But according to Gus, he's got bucket hands. He never drops a ball.
Yeah, Gus is. No, he does.
It was actually Matt Thompson that said that.
Oh, was it? But Gus said he never drops a ball. So
yeah.
In any case, he certainly has dropped the ball quite a lot. But
thumbs up, Billy.
It was
his best game.
It was a very good performance, and that's sort of what we've been saying is that, well, what I've been saying at least is that he is an NRL quality player. He should be in the 17 every week. I know he made a few errors last time he played in the Red V, but I think people judge him based on what he did 2 years ago. When he came into the side 2 years ago, he was pretty ordinary. He was very raw and made a lot of mistakes. His defence was atrocious. But over the last couple of years, particularly this off-season, his defence is much better than it was. His defence has improved out of sight. And people talk about, I can't wait to see Billy Burns come in and miss 55 tackles. His 3 NRL games so far this year, his defence is better than Jaden Sewers. So he's not missing many tackles at all. He's not missing anywhere near as many as he used to miss. And I think that people need to judge him based on what he's doing now, not what he did 2 years ago. Jesse?
Well, just on that, I know you're probably going to touch on it a little later, but do you think he's got the spot like in the run on side now with the injury to Sewer?
Well, we'll definitely talk about the injury to Sewer a little bit later on, but
Can I just
yeah,
say?
and-
Can I just say one thing? Who he does remind me of with the lines he runs, and if he can find someone he can run off, like Steve Menzies ran off Cliffy Lyons, he's going to run those holes and he's going to score those tries. And if he can run off Bud or Amone, it's going to be perfect for us.
yeah, no, I think that's actually a pretty good comparison in terms of the lines that he runs, and if you can find a half as good as Cliffy, then
That's right, yeah. And
then
people
he'll-
are going to
then
call
he'll
me
be
mad,
laughing.
but
Or
people
we
are
haven't
gonna call me
had a
mad.
good quality edge back rower like that, like run lines like that since Tyson Brazel left the club.
Yeah, I mean, you're not saying that he is Steve Menzies. You're just saying that he runs. He has a similar sort of frame.
Similar
He
running
runs-
style,
he-
similar lines.
He runs good lines like him. He's that doesn't necessarily mean he's ever going to be anywhere near as successful as
No, that's not. That's
Beaver.
not, yeah.
But yeah,
But
I
he
think
could be a good player.
there's definitely some things that you can compare there. All right. Of course, there are many ways you can support the Mad Dragons podcast. Choose the one that suits you best. You can become a member of the show, which gets you some merchandise among some other member benefits by going to patreon.com/the Mad Dragons podcast, selecting the membership package that suits you. You can also go to Etsy, and I'll just share my screen here. So this is the Etsy store. There's the address there. So just etsy.com/au/shop/Mad Dragons Vodcast. You can find all our swag there. So get in.
He's all good looking.
Well, absolutely. There's Big T. There we go. He's advertising the shirt. He's got his one on, but it's an absolute ripper. So yeah, get around the Mad Dragons Vodcast. Support us however you want, and you'll certainly get recognised if you wear one of those shirts around the area. So I know there's a few of you boys that you wear your shirts, and everyone knows the Mad Dragons
Got
Vodcast.
mine on underneath my jersey. There we go, in the big red V form.
That's a ripper. I think that's the first time I've actually seen that one. But yeah, apart from in the store itself, but yeah, that's a good one, mate. All right, let's move into some moments in the match. Hasman, the Raiders scored the first try, but strangely, I don't want to talk about a piss poor left side defence just yet. I want your take on the best post-try celebration of the weekend from the Raiders.
Yeah, of course you're talking about the stumping reenactment with Elliot Whitehead. I thought that was absolutely fucking hilarious. I wasn't happy about the try being scored, but just watching that, and anything that can piss off someone like Piers Morgan, who's gone absolutely apeshit about this thing. Anyone who can do that, that it can't be too bad. So no, everyone, because I was watching at the local, and everyone that was watching the game at the time started laughing their asses off when he did that. Would have been funnier if it had been us, doing it. But no, I thought it was quite funny. I don't understand the negative reactions to it.
Well, look,
Yeah.
I'm famous around the world for it now.
Yeah.
It put rugby league on the map.
And Sportsbet made it a $10,000 one too.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, they said that was the best one, and it's $10,000.
I hadn't seen that. That's really good. Really good that they get rewarded for putting in that little bit of extra effort. Rappana, he sort of grabbed everyone. They're like, "Oh, we gonna do it." He's like, "Nah, come over, let's do it. We're gonna do it." Like,
Elliot Whitehead. Yep. Oh,
Yeah. Funniest thing too, like Piers Morgan pointed out in that tweet, Elliot Whitehead's from Yorkshire as well. So he's getting nothing for being from Yorkshire, being England, and taking the piss out of his country.
Yeah, well, again, it's another one that's got his goat, and just him sharing it, I think, has been good for the sport in general. But yeah, I guess having a try scored against is not the best, and maybe the Dragons need to work on their post-try celebration game because I didn't see too many good ones from our boys. Maybe they didn't expect to score any tries. I don't know.
Problem is we don't score that many tries that we can really be sort of getting involved in this bloody celebration thing.
We'll do it in the Tigers.
There was a Bulldogs winger that's played about 2 games, and we might have even been on debut that did one.
Blake
with
Wilson.
the first try, yeah. Scored the first try to level the game up and did a bloody post-try celebration.
Yeah. And Connolly Lemuelu did one for the Dolphins today. I think he did a fin up or something like that.
Yeah.
I've just had an idea about a post-try celebration for that we could do, which is sort of taking the piss out of ourselves. Just sort of, have a little play where basically they reenact the try going down the left edge. Just like whoever scores a try, if it's one of the left edges, fucking, give it to someone else, have them one straight through, right past, Fine and bloody Sully like everyone else fucking does.
Well, the best one I've seen we've done recently is the Corey Norman repeat of Piggy Riddell back in COVID year.
Yeah. All right, Big T. Dragons were down 12-0. Amone floated a Harbour Bridge pass over to Ravalawa and he goes over, but the ball was called forward. Were we hard done by with that call, or was the pass forward?
No, hard done by. The ball was definitely backwards. It might have floated forward, like they say, but no, it definitely come out of his hands backwards, and that should have been 6-all.
Yeah, well, 12-6, so that was already
12-0
at that stage. But yeah,
12-6, yeah.
But yeah, like he threw the pass. It looked like the side on angle. Again, it was not the best angle. It wasn't directly in line, but you could clearly see the ball came out of the hands, and Junior was in front of the ball straight away, like it was backwards out of their hands.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There was a few conjecturous decisions on Friday night, but yeah, no, that was a try, definite try.
It was a rough one that went against us.
I think it does. Let's go against us. Sometimes we get them, so.
All right, Jesse, I've targeted you with this one, mate. Down 18-6 and under the pump just before half time.
Yep.
The Dragons had a dropout and did a long dropout, and the Raiders scored from that set. Should we have tried a short dropout in that situation?
Definitely not. We've had a chat about this on many occasions in the past, and
well, it cost us not doing the short dropout, didn't it?
It did, but yeah, when you're down at that stage of the game and it's close to half time, you're going to try, and you don't want them to scoring just before half time, because that's a momentum killer. If you go in with a try right on half time, that can really pave the way for what is to come in the second 40. I thought, yeah, good to go for the long dropout, but yeah, our defense was just again.
To be fair, that try was pretty unlucky. The kick going through and hitting the post, and
well, Jamal Fogarty actually planned for it, and then it set up nicely for Matt Frawley. Like,
yeah, you always plan for it. You kick at the post, but it comes off, 1 in 10 times or whatever. Like,
yeah, like even I watched the commentary after the game, and they even said like you couldn't feel for them like that. In that circumstance, that's an unlucky try because we were okay at that point of the game, but yeah, it happens. But yeah, people do plan. Halfbacks and fullbacks do plan for those kicks though. Like if they come off, they come off, and it worked in that play for the Raiders, and fortunately for us, came off for them, not for us.
Yeah. All right. Big T, half time and down 24 points to 6. Once again, some big issues with our left side defence. We've sort of touched on it a couple of times already. There doesn't seem to be as much blame put on one person this week. Matt Feeney seems to have been the only person that was at fault the last couple of weeks. Doesn't seem to be as much of that this week. Did you see any improvement, or was it just more of the same?
The 3 tries down that side, I think 3 or 4 tries down that side. Sully, Feeney, Ben Murdoch, Mastella, Sullivan, Turner at times. It was non-existent. I don't know how many tries Sully missed, but he missed a couple. Ben Murdoch, Mastella, again, come on, man, pull your socks up. Unorganised. They're not unorganised. That's their problem, I think. They're not playing for each other. Because I remember when I was playing, our coaches used to start with, be the player that other people want to play with, you know, and you've got to play that sort of game, and you've got to be up for each other. The Tomoko try over Turner, well, Turner just didn't have a clue, I don't think. I think he was out.
Well, Turner had to tackle Timoko 5 times. Like he made the tackle a couple of times, and the last one
out of his depth though. I don't think he's a first grade fullback.
No.
But yeah.
Well, he joins a long
Even
list of
Sullivan,
players playing first grade for the Dragons that aren't first grade players.
When Tarpanay scored, he just run around Sullivan in between him and Ben Murdoch, Mastella. Mastella was grasping it and air. You know, I don't even know if they class that one as a missed tackle.
He went over pretty much untouched.
No, that's right. He ran around Sullivan like Sullivan was standing still.
Yeah, Sullivan sort of jammed in and slipped over. And
yeah, I know, but it has to be there. It has to get.
Blake Laurie got palmed off there too. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, the effort from Murdoch Mastella was horrendous.
Well, I think we missed less tackles than them, so I think that was the end. About 10 tackles less than they did. So you can't blame.
It's where you miss them and how you miss them.
That's exactly right, and how you miss them.
And if they go through untouched, that doesn't count as a missed tackle. So,
well, there you go. Yeah. And then Sebastian Chris ran through Molo and Ben Mastella at the end there, and that was on the left-hand side. And
that was a
the try scored late in the game, you mean?
Yeah. That was a tired look at effort from the that whole set. We were done, but we do have a question about that a little bit later on. But it's a different issue. Well, it is a bit of different issue, but it was certainly a poor set and poor effort. Right, Hasman, after a great start to the second half, the Raiders scored a try from a bomb, and they tapped back, and then Jordan Rapana appeared to have clearly knocked the ball on. The bunker looked at it for 35 minutes and then cleared it and confirmed the try. How do they get calls like this so wrong?
Look, if they've had 1 or 2 looks at it and get it wrong, I can understand that, but I don't understand how, you can look at it, 110 times and still get it wrong. They slowed it down about as much as you can. And like, is it just sort of an anti-Dragons thing? Like, it's like, not sure what to do here, so we'll just rule against the Dragons because we really don't have a clue. But no, my Roosters supporter mate who I was watching the game with, and he likes the Dragons about as much as I like the Roosters. Even he couldn't believe it. Even he said, no, that's an absolute bullshit call. And I understand that, officials get it wrong, but as far as I can tell, no one manages that as much as Jared Sutton. Like he is as hopeless in the bunker as he is on the field.
So that was probably the bit that annoyed me more so than anything, is that before, if there was a bit of conjecture, they'd say, well, we've got to send it upstairs. And then at least you get to hear the bunker talking through what they were seeing, what they were thinking, what they were looking at. And while you might not always have agreed with it, at least you'd hear some of their thoughts. But just confirming the try is piss weak. Like, there was clearly that they looked at it for so long. They've got the referee standing there in front of the goal kicker, just waiting. It's like, if you've got some doubt, send it upstairs and let's hear from the bunker and explain how they come to this decision. Like, I don't understand when that process has changed. The fact that they got it so wrong is just, it blows me away. Like, he grabs it, he clearly drags it forward, gets his arm hit and drops the ball. Like, it has to go forward. It's the only thing that could have possibly happened. and somehow they get it wrong. Jesse, you chuck your hand up there, mate. Something to add?
Yeah, well, what I was behind where it happened. So actually, they showed the replay on the big screen at the ground time and time again. Everyone around us could definitely say, "Oh, Sebastian Chris had a hand to that," or I think it was Sebastian Chris, and they kept saying, "Oh, definitely no tries. Surely the Raiders have touched it," and the replays at the ground clearly showed that as well. And then I could see Jared Croker approaching the referee at the time when they were showing the replays on the screen, and then he was ready to getting ready to set up for his goal kick, and then he settled down once the try confirmed sign come up on the screen, and yeah, the boos going around in the ground were deafening. That's how bad it was. They could not believe the disgusting call that went against us there, because at 30-10 that really blew us out of the water as well. If we came back to, because at the end we came back to 30-26 sort of, and
mate, it was a crucial try. Like we dominated that opening 10 minutes or so. Like we were right on top, and that was one that really put the knife into us, and we did well to continue fighting after that. But yeah, no, that was definitely a decision that hurt us badly. Hasbeen, there's a few people asking about this, but 52 minutes into the game, Trey Mooney knees into the back of Paul Turner, and that ended his night. This was Turner's first game for the Dragons. How do you think he went?
I didn't think he went too bad. We saw glimpses of what he can, what he's done in New South Wales Cup, but look, you can't really, judge him on, that short of a stint. Hopefully we will get to see more of him, but no, I didn't think went too badly. He looked okay under the high ball. He looked like he was running it back with a lot more purpose than Tyrell Sloan seems to. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him get another shot if it does come down to that. I've got no problem with that at all.
Yeah, I thought he went okay. He was unlucky with an obstruction call against him early. Dropped a bomb that sort of drifted away from him late, but at least he was having a go, and that's what Dragons fans have been calling for Tyrell Sloan to do. Sometimes you're going to drop those ones, because that's the reason why Sloan lets them bounce, because they're hard to fucking catch. It's not an easy thing to do. I thought he had some good touches. I don't think he's ever going to be anyone's first choice fullback, but as a depth option and a fellow that can fill in, he goes okay. My only issue with is probably with the signing of Turner in general. I don't think he's any better than Trey Stewart. I don't know that he offers anything different, and seems to have similar strengths and weaknesses to both Stewart and Sloan. Personally, I would have preferred to give that slot to Trey Stewart and see him make his debut as a Dragons junior. But they've gone with Paul Turner. He's the guy that's got the slot and got the opportunity. He's an okay player, but I don't think he's ever going to be a star, and I don't think he's ever going to be a regular starter, and I don't think he should be.
Well, the way fullbacks are dropping out, Trey Stewart might be our only choice soon. Like,
maybe ran over 200 meters again on the weekend.
Tyrell Sloan's due back for the Tigers game.
Yeah. Okay, then that's good.
He's due back, but just because he's due back doesn't mean he will be back. But we'll see. He's due back. Jesse, Ravalawa's second try was set up by a rare offload from Blake Laurie and some great hands from Junior Amone, but it was the Laurie offload that ensured we had the overlap out wide. Joe Gula has a question about how we can have a captain that only plays 51 minutes. Do you think the captain of the team should be an 80-minute player?
I mentioned this on Tuesday night show. I was all for that. Jack de Belin should have been captain, and I still stand by that decision. Yes, I could see when Blocker was off the field, I could still see him on the bench. He was still standing up and cheering on the boys to keep going and fight hard for one another and all that. But yeah, I think you've got to your captain has got to be on for the entirety of the game, if not for the big chunk of the game. and that's what you do need. You need your captain to leading by example, barking out orders to all these troops, make sure they know what they're doing, and making sure that their leader is there, showing them a way, and that's what you want from leading by example and being out there at all times. And yeah.
Well,
doing that.
I'll just point out to you, Jesse, this weekend, the Parramatta Eels captain played 53 minutes. The New Zealand Warriors captain played 58 minutes. The South Sydney Rabbitohs captain played 42 minutes. And the Redcliffe Dolphins captain played 50 minutes in an 87-minute game. So that's 5 of the 10 captains from this weekend's round of matches that weren't 80-minute players. If all of these clubs got it wrong?
Well, you've got some other good leaders out there too that can help along the way.
Well, we've got Jack de Belin. He can help along the way.
Yeah.
When Laurie goes off.
But that's what they did say, that de Belin was going to be captain while Laurie was off. But yeah, I just think that that's just my personal opinion, that you got to have a captain that's on for big chunks of the game. And de Belin's been playing 80 minutes of the games he has played in all year this year, or most of them anyway. And being the most experienced and coming through the ranks and leading red and white and playing in a lot of big games, I think he's the captain.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't have any dramas with Laurie being named captain. I still have a theory that Jack de Belin didn't actually want to be the captain. I know what he said publicly, but I think that when he got named captain for that one-off game last time Ben Hunt went on State of Origin duty, there was a lot of media attention that got focused once again on him and his family. There was a lot of outside noise that came in and abuse that went towards Jack de Belin. I think that caught him off guard. I think he was surprised by that. He thought he put it all behind him, and all of a sudden being named captain brought it right to the forefront. It was in his face once again, and he and his family were copping abuse left, right, and centre. And I don't think he wanted it. I don't think he wanted to be the captain.
I heard Blake Laurie was supposed to be captain when Ben Hunt
was
out.
Again, that's what
Ryan
the
Carr
club's
said.
saying.
He broke his hand. So
That's what the club is saying, but
I understand, but yeah, that could be the truth, like
it could be. I mean, that's just a wild theory from me.
Jack's the third choice. So
well, I want to add on to that. People should just let this whole Jack de Belin thing go.
They never
It's
will.
in the past.
They never ever will.
It's
Every
in the
time Jack de
past.
Belin gets any praise, there's going to be a news article about what he did in the past.
Once the shit hits the blanket, it sticks, mate.
Yeah.
He's been found not
Doesn't
guilty.
matter.
The
I
charges have been
understand.
dropped. Yeah, there's nothing more to it. I don't know why they just can't get on with life and let him play his football.
Mate, not a more innocent man has been made to look bad, and he's been innocent all along, and it sticks. It sticks. Sadly, it sticks.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of ways you can get rid of that shitty smell that was following you.
Well, there's talk at the time too, when he was named captain for that Dolphins game, that he was potentially going to be selected for New South Wales as well, and that was the reason that they didn't pick him, because of all the attention he'd get and the New South Wales side would get.
And we're seeing what attention he got from being captain. What would he got going to New South Wales? Oh, yeah. Would have crushed him, man.
Yeah. Anyway, it's definitely something that has lingered for a long time, and I don't think it's going away. And I think for Jack's sake, I think that the right decision was made to make Blake Laurie the captain. I think making Jack de Belin the centre of attention once again just brings it all back. And he's still out there. He's still a leader out on the field. He takes over as captain when Blake Laurie goes off the park. He's still the leader, just doesn't have the C next to his name, and I think everyone's pretty happy with that. All right, Big T. I talked earlier about a forward pass call that I didn't think was forward, but there were a couple of passes from Ravalawa that looked pretty suspect, including one that directly led to his third try. While we got one taken off us, do you think we got one back here?
No, all our passes in our games were perfect. They all went backwards. That's how I seen it anyway. They all went backwards.
Yeah, no, I like that, mate. Yeah, one red eye, one white eye.
Oh,
Yeah,
exactly right.
we were perfect, and the referees just screwed us all
Again, every week that happens. Every week.
night. They all hate us. Why is that? Like even the
Because we're so good.
ones that grew up as Dragons fans, they seem to hate us.
As Todd Payton said a couple of years ago, if you're a bottom end team, the top 8 sides always get the 50-50
It
call.
is.
Unless you're contending for a premiership, you're not going to win the calls.
Yeah, no, I, in all honesty, I think there was 2 passes from breaks that Rubber made that that they looked forward to me, but I was quite happy when it didn't get pulled up and didn't get called, and one of them certainly led to a try. I think there was another one where we didn't end up scoring, but yeah, there was we got a couple go our way, but we certainly had a few go against us as well. So maybe it does even out in the end. Who knows? It doesn't feel that way, but right. Hasman down by 4. And Frankie Molo gets an offload to Jacob Little, who bursts into the backfield, gets smashed into the ground, and ends up leaving the field with a concussion. He was clearly dazed from a head knock, but play never stopped. The Dragons were at 6s and 7s that whole set, and the Raiders ended up scoring the match-sealing try. Should the game have been stopped with Little down with concussion?
Personally, I think it should have been, but my understanding of the rules is that that's not necessarily what needs to happen. Donnie, are you aware of exactly what the rule is on that?
I know if the players in the backfield they call play on, but my understanding is if it's a head knock or a concussion, they have to stop the game.
But I also understand that trainers basically no longer have the authority to stop play. That's basically down to the referee now. Is that your understanding?
I'm not 100% sure on who has the authority to stop the game. I know, I know when the trainer's got to actually get out there and assess you first. But generally speaking, when there's any hint of a head knock, they stop the game straight away. And he was clearly out of it after his head got smashed into the ground. I don't know. I thought it was. I was waiting for them to stop play after the first tackle was made, and they never did. They just kept playing on. I saw the trainer run through the screen to go and attend to him as he was down on the ground. He never got back in the line, and the Raiders go all the way up the other end and score a try. It was if they had stopped and we had been able to get our full complement back in the defensive line, it might have been a different result.
And I'd love to know exactly what the rule is, but I'm wondering if it's a case of, well, if the player's able to, sort of move, then, let the game go on. It's only if they're, like we saw in the Canterbury South game, which that's only going to result in a fine, apparently, that tackle. Where he basically he didn't move pretty much the entire time he was on the ground after he went down. And he did get to stretch it off. Is that basically what it takes for the game to be stopped now?
Yeah.
Does the player just have to be, absolutely not moving at all before the referee will actually call stop to it? I mean, where's the duty of care there? Do the referees have a duty of care in that situation?
Well, again, it's been a regular debate about the duty of care referees do have, and I certainly think with a lot of other injuries, if it's in the back play, then play on. But I just thought that we weren't taking those sort of chances with potential brain injuries. So I thought that was an immediate reason to stop a game and make sure that he gets the treatment that he deserves. There was even Raiders players that went over to him straight away to make sure he was okay and stayed with him as well. Jesse, you were at the ground. Obviously, it's hard to tell, it's happening in the background. Is this something you noticed?
Was this the Jacob Little one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was on the other side of the ground where I was. So it happened towards the hillside of the ground, and I saw the trainer ran straight for Little. and yeah, he didn't muck around. He went straight to him, and then he was just he was with him for quite some time, and then yeah, he was deemed to taken off, and then I didn't see too much more after that. I think he went straight up the tunnel. Um, not much more I can say on it, but I don't think he was in a position to get back into play either. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did the Raiders players stay with him the whole time, or until the trainer
no, they
got to
just
him?
kept playing on. They
'Cause
just
I
kept
saw I
playing
saw
on.
some Raiders players go over to him straight away in the coverage to make sure he was okay. And
Yeah,
and
then they just kept playing on after that. The trainer stayed with him, and then they just kept playing footy after that. What they were down towards the northern end of the ground, and Jake Little was still at the southern end of the ground with the trainer. So, yeah.
Anyway, it's one we'll probably never get any clear explanation from the NRL on, and we'll have to move on. Jesse, we fought back in this game, and towards the back end, we looked full of running, and the Raiders, they looked like they were going through the motions. Given we lost our halfback, our fullback, and our dummy half, were you proud of the way the team continued to compete and work hard for each other to try and cause this upset?
Yeah, 100% I am. Like as you said, we ended up with just two fresh faces. Sorry, two players left on the bench. All that adversity. And and the Raiders know that they've been known for giving up these big leads in games this year. I thought even though we lost, there are plenty of positives to take out of that. If we can build on the back of that, we can get some more wins before the end, before the year is out. Because if we just tidy up our defense, we've shown even without Ben Hunt, who's Ben Hunt, we can challenge teams.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. I'll actually stay with you. So there's back-to-back questions for you, Jess. Dan Russell, another 27-year-old debutant. How did you think Russell went on the day?
Yeah, I think he did his job. He was quite solid with that being great. He actually had a big following down at the southern end as well. It was good to see. I saw Danica Mason actually from 9 down there with his family, and love talking about what special time it is to make your NRL debut, and the age of 27 as well. He had a lot of support down there. It was really good to see. And when he got on, he got a big roar from the crowd as well. And he got put on in the forwards, but with the injury to Paul Turner, which put Zach Lomax to fullback, and put Dan Russell out in the centres. Ryan Carr did mention in the press conference that he put those players there, and he didn't think twice about the job at hand. He just said, go put this bloke here and do the job. I thought Dan Russell showed that he can play first grade. He is up to it. He was pretty solid in his runs and in defence. Like, I didn't see anyone really get past him. Yeah, he pretty good NRL debut. Hopefully gets more games before the end of the year.
It's like you've stolen all my notes, mate. You've basically touched on everything that I've got written down here. I'll go through it anyway, but I thought he went okay. It was a tough game to debut in, where he didn't actually get to play his role for the entire game with a number of injuries. He had to show his versatility, pushed out to the centres, and he did okay out there. But it's a massive ask for a bloke in his first NRL game to play out of position. But that's been Dan's career. He played on the wing for PNG at the Rugby League World Cup because PNG had no wingers, and they just thought, well, Dan will do it. Dan will do anything if you ask him to. So I don't think it was a great debut by any stretch, but I don't think he's a great player. But he's a good team player, and he'll gladly do whatever you ask him to do, and do it to the best of his ability. So I thought it was a good showing, and something that he can certainly be proud of. If he never plays another NRL game again, I think he still did himself and his family proud there. So good on him.
Yeah, he fulfilled his lifelong dream of playing in the NRL. He's done that, and yeah. And like you said, he's a team first player. You want to see players put the team first instead of putting themselves first and playing for the team, because at the end of the day, it's the team that does come first, not you.
All right, Big T.
Yeah, Ben Hunt.
Well, fair call. Big T, we were low on numbers finishing the game with only one player on the bench, and that player was Michael Molo. He played just 11 minutes. Obviously, the bench rotation got thrown completely to shit. But do you think once again Ryan Carr erred by leaving fatigued players on the field while a fresh Michael Molo sat on the pine for most of the first half and all of the second?
I think Rhino forgot that he had Molo on the bench. Like, I don't know why he didn't use him. But we've got Ben Murdoch out there laying down, and like Billy Burns couldn't do it all. So that's where the problem lies. And he could have put Mickey Molo on. I don't know why he didn't. But who knows what St George Illawarra Dragons coaches do these days? I think they make it up.
Yeah, I think he was definitely trying to think on the run when Turner goes down and Sullivan goes down,
Exactly right,
and Jacob Little goes down. He's trying to what have I got?
I would have just thrown him out there and not taken anybody off. But we're playing play with the 14.
You got to remember too. Carr hasn't probably had to deal with a lot of this before. He's still green in this situation.
He is, but leaving a player off only playing 11 minutes. And he was our starting front rower on only like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I don't know what.
Could have been the context of the game as well. Like we were playing.
The context of the game was gone. We were 14 points down or something. What did we get back to 8? We got back to 8 or something. 10,
like
30 to 26.
Even his first stint though, like he comes off the bench and plays 11 minutes before Dan Russell comes on to replace him. Like an 11-minute stint, like that just seems a waste.
Yeah.
I had another look today. I thought maybe he got picked up an injury, but I certainly didn't see anything on the coverage. He didn't come back, so maybe we'll find out later that he did pick up a knock, and that's why he stayed off. But
yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, exactly.
He might go and play Cup next week. Who knows? He's got 2.
Yeah,
well,
we've got no NRL, so.
Yeah, well, there's certainly an option there for a guy that only played 11 minutes to get some more minutes in his legs. But that might be the interesting thing for Tuesday to see what happens there.
We drop them all back and see if they can get a win, just to learn how to win again.
Well, we're playing the Panthers in New South Wales Cup, so that would be an easy game.
Well, it won't be an easy game, but yeah. All right, Hasman, a question from Rob Saguna. He's not on tonight, but he sent through. Well, it was a typical Rob Saguna rant, and I've crafted it into the question that I want to ask. But it's on Junior Amone and Jayden Sullivan. All season long, the fans have been bagging the shit out of Amone, and everyone has been able to recognise that Sullivan has an enormous amount of talent. But now, after one game, this game on the weekend, everyone's completely flipped that on its head. They've changed the song they're singing. All of a sudden, Amone is the star that must be retained, and Sullivan just doesn't have it. Based on this one game, they've completely changed what they're all saying. But do you think that our future lies with one, both, or neither of these two?
Well, I mean, this is what I don't understand. Like, how can you just flip your opinions based on one game where the entire spine was basically just flipped on its ass. I don't understand how you can make a sort of a balanced judgment based on that. Number one. Now, number two, I think a lot of Dragons fans would rather have Corey Norman and Moses Mbye in the halves than these two. But on a personal level, I want to see these guys play more and more together in the top grade, so that we can actually see this supposed magic that they can produce sort of at the junior level. So I think they are the future of the club. They just need game time. They need time, and they need game time. Simple as that.
Yeah, no, and I think that's always been my key when it comes to these two as well, is that yeah, both of them have an enormous amount of talent. I sort of look at Junior Mono, the way that he plays the game, the way that he runs the ball, all the control that he's got, and I sort of see him as, you know, maybe a Jack Whiten or even a Cam Munster type player. Again, same as Big T, comparing Billy Burns to Steve Menzies. Not saying that he's anywhere near their class right now, but that's the sort of levels that I can see Junior getting to, the type of player that I think he can be. He's got that sort of ability, but the halves that they need, that sort of 30 to 50 games playing in their position week in, week out, before they start to show a bit more consistency. We saw a really good performance from him on the weekend. His challenge is now backing that up and doing that week in, week out. Sullivan, he's a little bit further behind Junior in terms of getting that time out on the field. He hasn't had as many games in the 7 jersey as he would have liked to at this stage of his career. And he's going to need, again, that sort of 30 to 50 games playing in the 7, getting that week in, week out footy. So, and in between that time, in those 30 to 50 games, he's going to have good games, he's going to have shit games, and he's going to have in-between games. So I think we need to be patient. We need to give him the time to develop. Whether he can stay on the field is a big question with Bud, I think. Well,
you can probably blame Hook for the amount of time that Bud hasn't had, playing in number 7. What he should have done was basically say to Ben Hunt, you're on, 900,000 a year, wherever the hell it is. You're a football player. I'm your coach. You'll play or I fucking tell you. That's what he should have done. Then should have stuck him at 9, where he plays, at state level and international level. Then maybe, Sullivan's got enough game experience on Friday to maybe get us home.
Yeah.
So fuck you, Hook. Basically.
Well, he still thinks he's going to coach in the NRL again. What do you reckon, Hasman? Is that likely?
More chance of me playing halfback, mate.
I hope he does coach, another club in the NRL. I really do hope he does coach another club in the NRL. I don't know why any Dragons fan wouldn't want this for Hook, because then at least we
last 3 clubs.
Let me finish. Then at least we know we've got one team we can fucking beat, mate. Any team coached by Hook we can beat. If you let me get to my joke. Oh, Jesus, spoiling the punchline. All right, Big T. Ramon Cura says that when Ben Hunt is at halfback, he holds the ball for too long. And that's why our centres have been largely ineffective, as Hunt doesn't get them early ball. He suggests that Hunt is more effective for the Dragons as a dummy half. Would you agree?
I agree. He probably is. And he's probably ahead a little. So, definitely ahead a little, but that's the way we should be going this year, because we all know that Ben Hunt will get out of his next 2 years of the contract. He'll go to the Titans. We won't get anybody from the Titans because our board's fucked, and it'll just go anyway. We should play him at 9.
We'll take the Titans captain, Big T. What's his name?
Tino.
Oh,
Fasumala Awi. There you go. Fasumala Awi. No, but I can see something stupid like that happening. We won't get Tino. We won't get David Fifita. We won't get AJ Brimson. And, well, they've got a great come here anyway. So hopefully we get one of them. And I don't think Hunt will be there next year.
Well, again, I think there's a bit to play out there, but
heaps to play out, yeah.
I think it's good to be linked with these quality players. I think so often the Dragons, all these quality players come up for grabs, and they're going to the Roosters, they're going to the Bulldogs, they're going to the Broncos, but we never get mentioned for the big players. We get mentioned to those sort of mid-tier guys.
We were linked to kick out, and apparently
I read that.
we fucked up the contract. So
well, we basically had him. He'd
Yeah,
agreed.
right.
He'd agreed.
800 they offered him. or something.
Exactly the same as what happened to Trent Merrin years ago. It seems like we haven't learned our lesson.
No.
Trent Merrin had a contract extension, had a handshake agreement, and when they put the contract in front of him, it was $50,000 a year
Less.
less than what he'd agreed to.
Yeah.
And exactly the same thing apparently happened with Billy Kickout.
So if we're going to do shit like that, we're going to be to the back foot from the start.
No one's
No.
going to come to us.
Right.
I just don't understand how we do that years ago, and we're still doing the same shit. And you've got to think, what's the common link?
Other board.
Well,
Well, if
there's at least probably two on the board that are still around from that time.
Yeah.
Well, do we know if this is actually true or not? Did it actually
No, it
happen, or is
was-
it a media beat up?
It's probably
Oh.
a media beat up, but
Probably maybe.
it gives us another excuse to bash Gauss, mate. That's what we like to do.
Yes.
When it suits us, we believe the media.
That's right.
No, I totally agree, Jesse. Again, there's no way of knowing. There's only a few people that would know if it's true or not. But
Oh, look,
Yeah.
he's coming on.
Oh, here's trouble.
The late come
Look
up.
at this. The late show.
Bloody Johnny come lately himself.
well, we're going so long. He's finished the Betamax version of the recording of the 1979 grand
Yeah,
final that he
That's
was
it,
watching.
boys. That's it.
Did we
G'day,
win? Did we
boys.
win
Everybody. Yeah, I didn't even know you were on. I was just listening and went, oh, hang
Oh,
on.
Big Foster.
Better say good day to the boys.
There you
Yeah.
go.
How you going?
Yeah, not bad, Jesse. Pretty good, mate. After me getting flattened again on touch for
Ribs feeling
What were,
better?
what were your thoughts, Mick? How was the game?
Yeah, mate, good to see you, mate. Look, you know what? That second half, I was really impressed, man. Really impressed. And we really started to look like we could play some good footy. And I got to say, I was really happy with Billy Burns. I'd almost give him, I'd almost give him the one, you know, because he was the best forward. He made some breaks. He got some good passes away. He played some good footy. That's the best footy Burns has played, and the best footy Amono's played for us. I actually saw Amono this morning. I had a little bit of a chat to him, and I actually said, "Mate, that's the best game of footy I reckon you've played for us." And you know, the whole team was great. And I actually said to him, "How do you think you played?" He went, "Oh, you know, yeah, okay." And I went, "No, mate." I said, "You weren't okay, mate. Yeah, he was on fire, mate. So we can play some good footy without home. We don't need home, mate."
I gave Junior my man of the match, Mick.
Well, actually, I actually said it, mate. I thought he was pretty close to the best bloke on the field. But mate, Ravalawa, 3 tries, mate. I met Zach on Saturday night. He was just watching the footy with a mate in one of the clubs down here in Illawarra, and I just went up to Zach and said,
He would have
"Mate,
been
you know,
pretty sore after the way he played, mate.
Mate, I actually said, mate, you play with a lot of heart and guts, mate, a lot of heart and guts. And he just said, "Oh, thanks a lot, brother." You know. So yeah, mate, the boys had a real good go. The first half, well, you know, but you know the good thing about it, normally when we let score lines blow out like that, we fold. That was looking like a flogging that was going to be handed to us. And the second half, we came right onto it. So that was
totally
extremely
agree.
impressive.
Totally agree.
I wonder if that says more about us or more about the Raiders, because they do it every week. They do it every week. They get into big leads and get run down or almost run down.
Ricky was not happy. That's for sure. You could see the body language in the box. He was fuming.
Mate, if we had 10 more minutes, I reckon we win that. The way we were flying home, they were going backwards, and we were definitely on the move. You know. They were
What do you
falling
think of that
apart.
try? That try that got him to 30. That they replayed it time and time again, and
Shouldn't
you
have had a
could
try.
definitely see it was a knock on, and that the bunch
Yeah.
still awarded that try anyway. What's your
Yeah.
thoughts on that one?
Yeah, mate. I'd probably, I sort of can't, to be telling you honestly, I can't really recall it off my memory. I'd have to have another look at it again.
Okay.
All right, Jesse, I'll ask you. I was going to throw the first question that steal one off somebody else and give it to Mick, but I think this one you might have a bit more of an idea than most. Everything NRL wants our thoughts on the RLPA CBA protracted negotiations. What is it that is holding up the CBA from being finalised, and do we think fans are being shortchanged by not getting to hear from players before, during, or after the match?
Yes, 100%. But I don't get what I haven't really looked into what the ongoing saga is, or I haven't really looked into it that well. But what I do know is that I think the players, obviously there's something missing from the players. What is it that that's not meeting the NRL and the NRLW players, and also the people running the NRL like Andrew Abdo and your Peter V'landys. I've heard Clint Newton during the week. He's been livid about what's going on. Are the players aren't getting enough? How much do the NRL make each year from games or ratings or things like that? I'll throw this to everyone. What are your thoughts on it? I don't really have much more to say. It's just it's hard.
I guess from me, like I sort of understand that the RLPA still wants to continue negotiations. They've got their proposal. There's the NRL's proposal, and they want to try and find some middle ground. And the NRL have very arrogantly said, no, this is our proposal. Take it or leave it. We're leaving the table. We're not going back to the negotiation table. We're not talking to you anymore. Like, to me, the NRL is the cause of this, not the RLPA. The RLPA wants to continue negotiations, wants to continue discussions. The NRL have said, take it or leave it. We're the NRL. We're the bosses. We'll tell you what's what, and walked away. Big T, is that your understanding?
Do we know what the contract says?
Not really. It's sort of minor little details, and it's more, setting up future funds for players that get injuries and all that sort of stuff. I think it was the same sort of stuff that they were talking about at the start of the year. They've got they're not after more money. They're not after a higher salary cap. They're happy with that part of the agreement, but there's other things that they want sorted out as well. There's other things that they want as part of it. I think there's some stuff around international footy and different things like that.
I did read that one.
I don't know the full details.
They have appealed. If you get picked to play for Australia or New Zealand, and then say, "Oh, I want to play for Samoa or Tonga," they're trying to appeal that if you go play for, say, a Samoa or a Tonga or a Fiji or a New Guinea, that you should get the same pay as what you would if you get picked to play for Australia or New Zealand. I mean, do you think that is a pretty
But then you get paid by the country's rugby league.
It's still by the game though themselves, like in the NRL at the end of the day.
Again, they're talking about the Pacific Islands being those teams being paid by the NRL because the country's league bodies they don't have enough resources to pay them appropriately, and how are they going to be competitive when they're competing against, if you're eligible for both and you can get $50,000 for one playing 80 minutes for Australia, or you have to pay your own way to go and play for Tonga or Samoa.
I think you only get $2,000 for playing for a Pacific nation or something like that. It's not much at all.
Wow.
And then I think they're still going on with the NRLW one as well. I was listening to a podcast earlier in the week, and they have said, the NRL have all said, they want 18 teams in the NRLW by 2027.
Wow.
And they asked them this year, because they've gone to 10 teams. The general consensus between the NRL and the players, they said, well, how many teams would you like to see in this year's competition? And they said 8. And I said, I'll stuff you, we're going to put 10 teams in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of arrogance, I think, from the current NRL administration. They think that they are bigger than the game, and just refusing to actually negotiate with anyone, and doing deals that don't necessarily benefit the game. If you look at the current rights agreement, I think that's a perfect example of the failings of the current NRL administration.
Would V'landys feel like he was a god because he got us through the COVID period and he got rugby league back on
credit for getting us through the COVID period? He did fuck all. Like the return date for the NRL coming back for after COVID was announced when Todd Greenberg was still the CEO. Somehow Peter V'landys gets credit for getting the NRL back to playing rugby league 2 weeks before the AFL. Like, who cares? What have you done since?
Yeah, true.
He dead set has bathed on this. He has dined out on this. idea that he saved rugby league during COVID.
Yeah.
Did you see any other sports fall over during COVID?
He thinks he's a god.
Even the fucking Super Rugby competition's still going.
The netball
Somehow.
kept going.
They've all survived. Like, he didn't save rugby league. He's not this great savior that somehow the media have made him out to be. It's a crock of shit.
Well, we were the first sport to come back from COVID. I'll give him
Yeah,
that.
we came, but he wasn't the one that did it. Todd Greenberg was still the CEO when the return date was announced. Like, it wasn't Vlandis that did that. He's just the guy that got credit because Greenberg got sacked after the date was announced, or quit after the date was announced, when the NRL was coming back. And we got back, what, a week or two before the AFL did? I mean, is that really something that we're going to be so proud of, given that he completely botched the NRL's TV rights deal, which is the biggest cash cow the game has?
And on that, I don't think there'll be. They may want 18 NRLW sides by in 4 years' time. I can't see it. I really can't see it.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens this year with 10, to be honest, and
It's
see
going to
how.
be a completely different comp. That's for sure.
Well, we'll see how at the end of the day, I've always said we could have 100 NRL teams. We could have 100 NRL teams, and if every game is close, people will watch it. And that's the problem at the moment is people say, oh, there's not enough quality. There's fucking tons of quality. There is heaps of quality that are playing in lower grades. I go and watch lower grades games. I love it. I love it. But they wouldn't make it in the NRL, but it's close games. It's competitive and it's enjoyable. So long as games are close, people will watch it.
It's a very close competition this year. Look at the top 8. There's like 2 points between the first and fifth.
I even watched that game today.
That was an awesome game.
An awesome game. Two shit
was a thriller.
games. But
it was a thrilling game to watch.
Exactly right. If it's close, then people don't care about the quality as much. It's getting the processes in place to spread the talent evenly across every team. That's what the NRL needs to get right. The number of teams is semantics. And Stephen Bates has put in the chat that in terms of the NRL players not doing interviews, is that they're nothing interviews, and I do agree with him. I could do without the halftime interview. I think they can get rid of that forever, and I'd be quite happy. It adds absolutely nothing of value. Even the pre-game interviews, it never makes me change my tip. I don't know about you. I don't think it adds anything of great great value, but I think the opportunity to have a chat with Dan Russell post game after his NRL debut, with Toby Sexton after his first game at the Dogs, getting them across the line against the Rabbitohs, those sorts of things I think are good and would have been nice to see, but because of what's going on, that we didn't get the opportunity to hear from Dan straight after his debut game, and I think there's certainly some things that we are missing out on are getting shortchanged. All right, we'll move in now to a bit of lower grade stuff. So first of all, I just want to have a look at the highlights of the New South Wales Cup and Jersey Flag, and then we'll go into some questions.
Send someone there to film it or an organisation that did that.
Right. So this is the first try from the Jersey Flag. You see Nick Quinn goes across and throws a great pass there, and the flick out from Campbell Watchers to Dane Courtney to score for the Jersey Flag. This is the under-21s. Nick Quinn again involved in this one, again on that left-hand side. This time he finds Harry Rudd, who runs a really good line. You'll see go straight into that hole, and Ben Rumble comes through. But the best try was this one from Ben Rumble. We see the run here. I think that might be Tom Phillips with that carry, but then it's Jet Liu that takes the next charge, stands in the tackle, backs forward, and then gets that pass. Good hands from Rumble, and you see him just burst into the backfield. A great run here. He beats the fullback. He beats another couple on the way to the try line. A really good try, but unfortunately it wasn't quite enough for the Jersey Flegg side after going down 20-0 early in this game, or down 16-0 at half time, and then down 20-0. They came back to get close, but that got it to 20-16 with a few to go, but weren't able to go on with it. The New South Wales Cup side now, you see Alec Tuatavake once again goes into a tackle and gets that late offload away, as he so often does. And then Lycan King Togia goes straight through. Dummy sets up the try for Jackson Sherrod to give us an early 6-0 lead, but then we kind of fell asleep a little bit. This was a bit of a lucky try. Jed Stewart gets up and knocks this one back, but then it bounces straight back up into his hands somehow, and then goes away to score that one after, I haven't seen too many people outleap Alex Lobb. And then a couple of tries from kicks. Jack Bird you see coming across, but Dragons Junior Brad Moorcost gets to it first, and then another kick this time from Denny Levi, and it's Jackson Lavender, who again was with the Dragons last year, but went to the Raiders this year. That one was Jack Bird just absolutely sleeping in behind the ruck, and Brad Moorcost stands up Trey Stewart pretty embarrassingly for Stewart. It was a bit easier than it should have been. He runs away, but then the Dragons started to come back into it in the second half. So Bird sets that one up for Trey Stewart with a little inside pass. Lycan King Togia gets his second try assist of the game. The young half is Alex Lobb. Like I said, he doesn't get out left very often, scores that try. And then this one more or less sealed the game. It was not quite high enough from Zach Herring. Nick Jotrich, he catches it and takes off, just jumped through the line. We see a good chase here from Trey Stewart, but can't run him down. Sione Finau comes from behind, but once again, just can't quite get Jotrich there. We scored another try. We get some good early ball out to Max Finau, and he shows what he can do with that early ball. Stands up his opposite, pulls through a couple of tackles and scores a good try. But once again, the Dragons not quite good enough in either of those games. And Big T, all three games this weekend followed a similar pattern. We got out to a good lead, but got run down. Is this an issue with us, or is this something that kind of permeates through the entire Raiders organisation?
Yeah, Raiders are a bit like that, aren't they? They tend to go out to big leads, and then the other teams come back to them and beat them sometimes. Yeah, it's just the way they play. I think it's the structure of their grades, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure, mate. I think it was just more coincidence than anything else, the way that the weekend played out. But it was just pretty funny that all three grades got behind by big margins and then fought back and almost won all three, and we lost all three.
That's Canberra, though.
Yeah, all against the Raiders.
Any other team probably would have beat them yesterday on Friday. So
yeah, not us though, unfortunately.
Just the Dragons, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. Well, I might again share my screen and just bring this one up. Hasman, this is a tweet I stole from Cooper Island. He talks about 3 Dragons juniors selected for the Australian schoolboys team in Loco Tonga, Jacob Halangahu and Finau Latu. How excited are you to watch the development of the next crop of youngsters with, I suppose, the club having a renewed focus on developing these players into NRL players? Hasman, yeah?
Yeah, I haven't really seen that much of them, to be perfectly honest. But look, it's always good to see the juniors getting sort of selected for this sort of representative honour, and I look forward to getting annoyed with them being snapped up by the Roosters or Penrith or some other bloody wanker team. But no, looking forward to seeing them in action and seeing what they can do.
Well, Mick, I might go to you with the next one, staying with the youngsters. We had the New South Wales Blues under-19 side named, and you see there in jersey number 2, Savelio Tamale, and also in jersey 15, Nick Sagranis to come off the bench. This game on Thursday night. So after the men's state of origin, we're going to see the under-19s. Are you looking forward to watching this game on Thursday to get a look at what these kids can possibly produce for us in the next year or two?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Look, looking at those guys, to be honest, I don't know any of them. So it'll be very interesting to. I'll definitely watch the game for sure, because I think it'll be the up and coming guys to take over guys that'll retire at some point. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how they go.
Absolutely. All right. Well.
But just quickly, Donny, before you move on, I was on mute before, so you wouldn't have heard me asking a question. It's about this boycott thing. Is it my understanding that the players aren't meant to have anything to do with the fans as well?
That's not my understanding. It's only with it's only with the media before, during, and after the game.
So it's not fans. It's not fans.
No, we saw that there's a video going around of Zach Lomax signed his jersey and gave that to a fan at the end of the game, and there's definitely been a few interactions that we've seen over the weekend with fans, but it's nothing to do with fans. It's all to do with the media.
Right, thanks, mate. No, just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah. All right. Well, we do have one more lot of highlights to go through now, and Jesse, I might actually get you to talk through this. This is the NRLW game, the trial game, the highlights of that one, and you might have a bit more to sort of talk to that than I do. No, that's not the right one.
Yeah, it might, as we discussed in the chat, it might be a bit hard to tell what players had what numbers. It's not very clear, the picture, but we'll do our best.
Yeah. On the volume down. Talk us through it, mate.
So yeah, this is a quick early try here for Parramatta. That's Starlee Faye. So she was pretty soft defense out there on the wide. The Tegan Berry's first run at fullback in the NRLW side, but keen to see how she goes. So Zali Hopkins there in 14. So that's a nice little kick there from Racing. We're going to got the perfect bounce, but then or whoever 14 is.
Cassie Towai Hiku.
Yeah, well, she was in the New South Wales squad for game 2 of the Origin. So yeah, she's got some speed. She can play anywhere in the backs, and yeah, ran away and put the first try into Parramatta. Yeah, and then Zali Hopkins here.
Let go.
Yep. So number 14 is Hopkins. Then Racine McGregor, Tegan Berry, nice cutout pass, and one of our new girls, Taylor Mapasua, crosses over for our first try. So Tegan Berry starting to develop a passing game, which will be good for a go at fullback this year. So here she goes again, Tegan Berry. Tries to get the offload away. And there goes that's young Sophie Clancy from Newcastle. She's just joined us, and she's burrowed over from dummy half. Nice try there from the little number 9. And there she goes again from dummy half. Nice pass out there. That was Zali Hopkins, intercepted by, it looks like I'll replace her name. I think it's Monique Donovan. That's her name, Monique Donovan. The best effort.
Who's the chaser there, mate, in the 21? Do you know who that is?
21. That looks like Margot Vella.
Like Margot Vella.
Margot Vella came across from the Waratahs. So that's Zali Hopkins kicking there. Got the bounce, and then comes up with a try. Looks like I couldn't quite get that face. Sorry. And then this was the match-winning try from Nakia Davis Welsh, former Jillaroo and New South Wales player. Hasn't played in a few years due to a child, but yeah, good to see her back in the game. And then this was the final play of the game, and yeah,
2 minutes
positive
before
signs there.
2 minutes before full time to decide the game, so it really did go right down to the wire. Pretty decent performance overall from the women in their first hit out. Now, obviously, it's just a trial, so you read into it what you will. But Mad Lad wants to know who you saw as the standouts.
I thought Maddie Weatherall was good. He hasn't played any football at all in the last 3 years, so I thought she made some strong runs up the middle. I think she'll be great off the bench, make some good impact when our forwards get a little tired and she comes on at the back end of the first half. Tegan Berry really made that good fist of fullback, as I said during those highlights. She's obviously got to develop that passing game, and some signs there she looked quite good. And also I thought young Sophie Clancy did well at a dummy half too. I think with the departure of Keely Davis and Quincy Dodd, I think she really put her hand up for that number 9 jersey. I also thought for what I saw of young Macy Carlos, she looked strong in her runs and in defence as well. I liked the defence of the side. Like they would, as you said on the night, we were down 10-0 and we didn't give up. We fought right to the end, and it's only a try in the dying minutes that was the difference in the game. If they can keep that together, there's some strong signs going forward. And they look like they're really full of energy, playing how like Jamie Soward wants them to play, playing for each other, and that's what you want to see. Obviously, a lot of experience, but
And the Dragons have announced a new signing too, mate.
That is correct. Did you get my
I did, but I don't have that ready, mate. I don't have that one ready. I've got a few other ones ready, but I don't know that one.
Okay, so our new signing is Shanoa Amone. So with the unforeseen circumstances, the withdrawal of Paige McGregor from the side this year, who's been a part of our side for the last 2 seasons, Shanoa Amone has been announced as our replacement player for Paige McGregor. She's an outside back, more likely as a centre. And yeah, she's the distant cousin of Junior Amone. Shanoa
You don't have to
Amone.
say distant, just cousin. Yeah.
But cousin. Yeah. So yeah, keeping it in the family. Welcome to the club, Shanoa. She's been playing in the Harvey Norman Women's Premiership with the Bulldogs, and Jamie Soward is looking forward to having her on board and add some good depth to our side.
Well, the other one is I think you announced it on Tuesday, but I don't know how well it went. So take us through this.
Not
mate.
well. Not well. So yes, so Tuesday the 18th of July. So this will be our first NRLW team list Tuesday for the season. We welcome NRLW star utility Renee Targett will be joining the show on Tuesday, the 8th of July from 8:30 p.m. So any questions you have or anything you want to ask her ahead of the upcoming season, send them through, and we can try and get those questions answered for you. And looking forward to Renee coming on, and we're both Filipino heritage as well. So
yes, that's it. You get a bit in common in that respect. But yeah, hopefully she is named in that squad that is named Tuesday week. So looking forward to that.
Didn't see a lot of her in that trial either. But
Jesse, just on that last game that we were just having a quick look at, that chase by that number 21, she seriously got some speed because she was well behind that girl that took off. She was at least a good 10 behind her. She really gained on her. So what was her name again?
Margot Vella.
Man, and what position was she?
She's a winger, so she's just come across from rugby.
Wow. Yeah, man, she's going to be a highlight because, man, she was fast.
I think Big T's a fan of her. Big T's number one. Big T's.
I liked her. I seen some of her work for the Waratahs, and she's quick. She's going to be a Jess Surgis type, I think. So
I think she'll be. I think she. Yeah, I'd like to see her as a wing, get a wing spot. I think.
Yeah.
I know, Big T. I know you've got to head off, mate, but I'll give you one more question before you head off, if you've got time. Jaden Sullivan once again done his hamstring with some reports that he may not play again in 2023. Are these regular soft tissue injuries with Bud starting to become a threat to his career?
Well, that's probably his 3rd or 4th hammy over the times, but yeah, he's just got to work on it. He's just got to keep it warm. He's just got to you can play on with soft tissue injuries, and no, I think he'll be all right. I think.
Well, I'm hoping he is, but yeah, when it does speak, I have seen a few other players, it's certainly in AFL, where regular soft tissue injuries end up being, a common occurrence throughout a career, and just they never quite get it right. So I
Look at
guess we've
Tommy,
seen,
mate. Look at Tommy.
Yeah.
Hamstrings are an injury. How Jaden's only 21 or something like that.
21, 22, yeah.
Yeah, and he's had 3 or 4. Me personally, he's gone. He's gonna have that all throughout his career. He's finished. You can't have 4 at 21 years of age.
So I reckon send him to that guy in America.
well,
It's worked wonders for
It didn't work
Latrell
for
Mitchell,
Tommy.
Yeah, I mean,
we had rugby. We had the NRL physio on, and he basically said the guy over in the States doesn't do anything different to the guys here in Australia. It's all in your head. So maybe get into a head doctor if that's going to fix him. Then yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting one. Hopefully he can get fixed up one way or the other. But
Look, it's a pretty sad thing to be happening to him, but it just seems to be he's becoming very injury prone with it. That's the problem for him. And
for me, it's not like a Kyle Stanley or someone like that where it was knee reconstructions over and over again. It wasn't season-ending stuff. Comes back for a week and then gone for the season. Like it's hamstrings where he's going to be out for sort of 4 to 6 weeks, and then he'll be back. But the fact that he's had so many, it is a bit of a concern.
And the thing is, with being the playmaker and going through the holes, he's going to always be second guessing himself whether to put the foot down because he's thinking, "Oh, my hammy," and that's look. I really love him as a player, and I think he's going to be great for us. And I hope, for his sake, that he can somehow get that fixed. So it's not a problem for him because he's definitely going to have a great career if that hamstring can get sorted out for him.
Right, Hasman, another, so again, talking about forced and unforced changes. I haven't heard much about the actual injury to Paul Turner. I don't know if anybody else has any further info, but after the knees to the back. But if he was available for the next game against the Tigers, do you think he'd be a chance of getting another crack?
Look, he may very well be. Now, I might be sort of preempting another question here, but I'm thinking, he may get another crack, but the way that that Zach Lomax played at fullback, which I did allude to in Heroes and Villains earlier, I'm wondering if maybe Lomax goes to fullback, but I think if Tyrell Sloan's not available for the Tigers game, Paul Turner for mine would definitely be in the mix.
Yeah. All right. Huff, I might give this one to you. With Jacob Little out with concussion at the back end of this game, but because we've got the bye, he should still be right to play our next game against the Tigers. But I guess the question I'd like to throw to you is if the Dragons did lose Jacob Little, what do you think our 9 and 14 would look like?
Well, yeah, mate, that's a good one because you could probably put Mono probably in there, but then if Sullivan's not playing, I don't know. Do Mulhausen, does he come in? Because he would probably be the logical bloke for me to put in there, but maybe I don't know. For some reason, I think you could probably put Junior there, but then who'd take his spot? So I think Mulhausen is probably the logical one that where Mono can stay where he is, and who else is there? Because I think it depends on Sullivan as well if he's going to be gone.
Well, I think he's gone for at least a few weeks with that.
Right. Well, that's right. So
with that hammy, but
gone.
I don't know the severity of it just yet. As I say, there's some people suggesting it might be the end of his season, which again, I guess it's going to be pretty close. If it's at that sort of 4 to 6 week range, then it's going to be pretty close to the end of his 2023 campaign.
So we've only really got Mulhausen really to take that spot then, I suppose.
Well, there's Connor or there's Haley. down in the lower grades as well, who's coming off the bench and playing 9. They're sort of sharing that role a little bit, Connor and Haley.
Yeah.
But
So what's the chance of Little not? You asked me the question. Do you think he won't be playing?
I think he'll be right. Like he'll go through the 11-day protocols, assuming it was what do they call it, category 1 head knock. Then that'll he'll get through that and he'll be right to play because we got the bye. If we didn't have the bye, then it might be something. It's more hypothetical at this point in time. But
so would you like to see
a big loss?
Yeah, mate, for sure. Little's been pretty good for us since we've actually signed him. I think he's going to. How long have we got him for? Another couple of years?
Yeah, we signed him for another couple of
Yeah. I think Little's going to be. I think he's a bit of a crowd favourite. So since he kind of come along and played a few games, the crowd seem to gel him pretty much straight away. I'd actually still like to see this Mulhausen guy get a run though, because there seems to be some pretty big reps on him. And I know you guys, Jesse and yourself, have sort of talked about him a fair bit. So I'd actually like to see him get a run and just see how he goes.
I don't know about big raps. I think he's a solid player. He wouldn't let you down.
He's a worker.
He'd make his tackles. He would do everything he has to do. He gives good service. I've got question marks over his running game, although he certainly seems to be working on that over the last few weeks. He's definitely running a lot more than he did last year. So it's building. His confidence is building in that area. I think he'd be a decent player that wouldn't let you down if he was given a chance.
But just I'll keep a good eye on him next week. I'm going to that New South Wales Cup game, so I'll keep a good eye and see how he goes.
I think Mbai would obviously get the run again, wouldn't he?
No, I don't know.
Because
well, yes. That's what everyone in the chat's saying.
Well,
would 100% be Moses Mbai, but who would be
it
the
would be
14
Mbai, whether anybody liked it or not. Before Mulhausen would be, obviously Mbai wouldn't be completely ruled out altogether. He would get the spot. I mean, just by default, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, how much cap room do we have if we blood another player outside the top 30?
Well, no one knows, mate. I'd imagine millions, because surely the players that we have used haven't used up our full cap.
I mean, we only use Dan Russell and
Dan Russell.
That's the only one we've used outside the 30
so far.
Okay.
I don't know whether 18th man counts. Surely they've got to get on the field for it to count.
Yeah.
So when just quickly on the captaincy thing, when Blocker was actually off the field, I'm assuming Jack was captain.
Jack de Belin was the captain. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So does it make sense to actually have, because Jack pretty much plays 80 minutes, doesn't he? Unless he gets
injured. We did talk about this extensively before you came on.
Don't start.
Well, I think Jack de Belin said, "I don't want to be the captain. Don't make me the captain."
Oh, right. Okay.
I think it actually, that's just a theory from me.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to back that up, but I think last time he was named captain, he copped a lot of hate from the media, from fans, and it brought all of that stuff back.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, his family's copying all this abuse. He's copying all this abuse, and I think it caught him off guard. That's
and it's a shame
theory.
Because and you're probably right. He, for me, and I would assume probably everyone else on the panel, he would be the logical guy. He bleeds red and white. He wants to also re-sign again at the Dragons. Again, he wants to keep playing for us. He bloody loves this jersey, Jack. And he plays the whole game. As much as I love Blocker, he's not on the field the whole time. So then it goes to Jack by default anyway. So kind of nothing against Blocker, but if you're not on the field for 80 minutes, I think the captain's got to be there the whole time.
That was the other thing that I pointed out, though, Mick, is that this weekend, 5 of the 10 captains played 50 minutes or less. Right, every second team has a captain that doesn't play 80 minutes. So
it's a new thing. It's becoming a bit of a that's the way it is now.
Well, yeah, I guess you don't have to be out there the whole time. You get a leadership group, and you get somebody else takes over while you're off the field. But
yeah, fair
all
enough.
Right, we'll move on to another injury, and well, you've had this one as your background all night, but we'll share it anyway. So Jesse, I just want to bring up this picture, as I understand you had a bit of a chat with Jaden Sewer at the game. And you can I suppose reveal the extent of his injury straight from the horse's mouth.
So yeah, I chat to him. I just make sure he's wished him all the best, and hopefully he's back soon. But yeah, unfortunately, he's given me the news that his injury has unfortunately seen him ruled out for the remainder of the 2023 season. It's a shoulder. Looks like so what it is. I'm just trying to bring up the injury. I read it somewhere. It's an odd one. It's a shoulder. So it's
Well, it's a shoulder. We know that much.
yeah. I'll get a little bit more info on it, but it's not a dislocation or break or anything. But it's I'll have get a bit more information from it in a couple of minutes, and I'll be right with you on it. But yeah,
so
unfortunate.
He's got to have some sort of surgery on a shoulder. But I mean, the headline is that Jaden Sewer, his 2023 season is over. So that's, I suppose, sad news for Dragons fans. He's been arguably one of our best forwards, along with Jack de Belin, certainly one of our most consistent and a damaging edge forward. So it certainly leaves a hole for us to try and fill.
Was that Billy Burns' spot to lose now?
Well, you'd think that maybe it's a saviour for Ben Murdoch-Masila, but Stephen Bates has put in the chat that he's done an MCL. So Ben Murdoch-Masila, we saw him go down late in that game. This one actually isn't on the agenda, but he might be done as well. So we're basically looking for two edge forwards coming into next week. And I suppose I'll go to you, Hasman. Who do you see as being the two new edge forwards to come in and fill that hole?
Well, one would assume that your man Billy Burns would certainly have to be one of them. As far as the other one, I don't know, Catherine maybe, or Jack Bird's another possibility, depending on how he pulls up. Or just trying to think who else we could.
Well,
I
might go to Mick that with another name that might fill that spot. With the reports I received is that Jack Bird's return from injury via New South Wales Cup was somewhat underwhelming. Despite that, would you still expect the former State of Origin player to return to the top grade after the bye?
Look, even Jack himself said that he probably needs to have a break for a while, which is a pretty honest assessment of his own playing, because his defence has been pretty short. So, oh yeah, look, I don't know. And going back to what Matty said, Billy Burns, I think, would be a straight up. He'd already be in one of the spots for, I would pretty much say 100%, and especially the way Billy played the other day. And I was thinking of you, Donny, you must have been lovely, because Billy did play well. He was making breaks, getting good passes off, and I thought that's not normally, Billy's not known for that, and he was one of our best forwards on the night.
I think I've said in a few of the groups, like I'm happy that Billy Burns has played a good game, but he needs to do that every week. He needs to come out and play that way next time he's on the field. Next time he gets an opportunity, he needs to come out and play that well again. Like it can't be a one-off thing and comes out and next game against the Tigers and makes 6 errors. Like that's he's got to back that up. He's got to show consistency, and I think he can. Obviously, I've been a bit of a supporter of his, and I think he's got enough ability to be an NRL player. So
just a little bit.
Yeah, so I think yes,
it has been just a little bit. You guys have made much more of it than there has been, but anyway.
Billy Burns would get one spot, and I think Bird would get it by, once again, default, not so much from form. I think Jack would just get it because Murdoch-Masila, I think you said, was gone. He's gone as well. And then they get outside Jack, who else is there? There's probably a few other guys, but I probably don't know who they are. So I think Jack would just be there as part of the furniture, and he'd have another go. But I really don't know what's happening with Jack. He's just he seems to be really lost, or he looks a little bit unfit. I think Flanagan he'll come in and really shape this group right up, because some of the guys aren't looking as fit as what they should be, and Flanagan's already picked that out. he's already pointed that out, and I'm sure Bird's one of them, Laurie's another one. They're carrying a little bit more around than probably what they should for first grade footballers, and I just think Jack he's a little bit unfit, and I think maybe since the hook thing and all that, I think he's gone down a little bit. And I still reckon Jack's a great player. I just think he's in a bit of a slump. That's all. And all the good guys, all the big guys have all, Lockie went through it, Slater went through it. They've all gone through it. And
I think he's playing injured, mate. I think there's a lot of people judging Jack Bird on what he's doing playing on one leg. He does seem to be really hampered in his movement. And if he can get that right, I don't know exactly what it is. The club aren't telling us anything about what the actual issue is with Bird and his injury. He doesn't seem to be moving all that freely, and I think that's really hampering him this season for most of the year. So if he can get that right, then again, with the number of injuries that we've got now, I think that Jack Bird will come straight back into the NRL side. He'll probably play New South Wales Cup again this week to try and get a bit more fitness into him when we do have the bye round. But I expect that Carr will name him. Dan Russell is obviously the other possibility. He debuted on the weekend. He is a second rower, but we could have the two New South Wales Cup second rowers in Billy Burns and Dan Russell up in at NRL level, which I don't think we would have expected to see even a couple of weeks ago, let alone now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when the team for the Tigers is named.
And what about the Couchman boys?
Yeah, well, that was another name that Hasman mentioned. Ryan Couchman played 70 minutes in the second row a couple of weeks ago. Well, last week, not the weekend, the current weekend. The week before, he played 70 minutes on the edge. And I'd imagine that's at the behest of the NRL coach because he wants to see how he goes playing out a bit wider. So maybe he's certainly in consideration. Both the Couchman boys consider themselves to be edge forwards, but for me, they've done their best work playing through the middle, playing big minutes through the middle and being workhorses in that part of the field. But I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced that the clubs see them as edge forwards at this point. I think they see them more as middles, but they're certainly another option for the club to look at and consider.
Well, they're big guys, and they can move, and they look pretty decent. I wouldn't mind seeing one of them get a run if Bird. I still think, like you said, I think people automatically he'll come in, but if he didn't, I think I would definitely give one of the Couchman guys a run because they look pretty decent. Yeah,
we'll see how that one plays out. But Hasman, Tyrell Sloan's injury was described as minor. So with the bye, you would expect him to be available, and word is that we're getting on the chat is that he will be available. Do you expect him to reprise the fullback role, or was Lomax so impressive in that position that you could see a bit of a reshuffle there?
Well, if I was Ryan Carr, I'd certainly be considering Lomax at fullback. But I think with the injuries that we've now got and the reshuffle that's going to have to happen, I think the smart play would just be to, bring Sloan back in if fit. That way, Lomax can basically stay in the centres where he, does a lot of his best work, and just sort of, have as few sort of disruptions to the normal lineup as is absolutely possible. I think that's what Ryan Carr will go with.
That probably answers the next question. I'll go to you, Puff, with this one. Ben Hunt will also be back for the Tigers game. Do you think it's as straightforward as Hunt going back into halfback and Monet staying at 6, or will Carr have a different role for Hunt post-Origin?
No, I would assume Benny would just come back and play straight away and go where he goes. He'll just take his normal spot.
I think there's a lot of fans making some wild suggestions about where Ben Hunt should play. I'll put him in New South Wales Cup or start him off the bench at 14. It's not going to happen.
No, that's all laugh. I mean, that's just people trying to pay him back and, being a bit dirty on what sort of happened. But, we all saw well how Amano played the other night without Hunt on the field. You know, he
Yeah.
actually showed. And I'm not blaming Ben Hunt for this. That when Amano doesn't get to do that when Ben's there. Obviously, it's a different role when Ben's on the field because he's captain. He runs everything. But Amano really stepped up and showed that without Ben Hunt on the field, what he's actually capable of delivering as well. So it's unfortunate that Hunt will come back and he will take his spot. It's
the most
get the spot again.
It's the most receipts that Junior has had all season, and that I don't think will surprise anybody. He hasn't got that much of the ball at any other stage. Certainly this season. I didn't look at last season's stats, but
he was making breaks. He was getting short passes away. He was getting some really good bloody dummies to go. Like he had the whole thing bloody going on. And we never really see Junior. And the funny thing is today, even when I had a quick chat with him, I said, mate, that's the best game you've played for us. And I said, I actually thought you were the best player on the field. And when I asked Junior what he thought about his own game, he went, it was all right. And I thought, wow, he seemed really genuinely believing that he played okay. And I thought, well, I think a lot of fans thought he played a lot better than okay. He brought us right back into that match. And that's why I wouldn't want to see Hunt come back straight away, because I want to see Junior do that again.
Yeah, well, he's going to need someone standing next to him, unfortunately, with no Jaden Sullivan. He's going to need somebody in the halves with him. So I think that'll be Ben Hunt in the 7, and he'll come back in. And I honestly think that the whole Ben Hunt thing's been blown out of proportion a little bit. I think he came back from Origin. He was crook all week leading up to his last game. I know he didn't play all that well, but I think we all know ourselves when you've got the flu all week and then you have to go out and do a physical activity, you're not going to give your absolute best. I think he was below his best just health wise. So I expect him to come back after Origin and go back to being our best player on the field week in, week out.
Oh, mate, look, he'll as long as he's still playing for us or whoever Ben Hunt plays for, I would never suggest that he'd throw a game and he wouldn't try. Ben Hunt will always play the best footy that he can play. I'll say that much about him. From what I've seen, he does the best that he's always capable of play. No matter what.
He's a competitor.
He's a competitor. He wouldn't throw a game and he wouldn't be the kind of guy to put his nose up and go, no, I'm not doing it. That's just not the way I see how Ben Hunt would play. He'd still want to play well and do his best. And I think he won't keep the 2 years.